2 more games, everybody. 2 more regular season games till the Carolina Hurricanes are in the postseason. Rod Brind'Amour spoke to the media earlier today. He did talk about bringing up AHL players in order to give some of the veterans, some of the mainstays, some of the guys that have played the marathon of the NHL season a well-deserved breather. Which means we are to the point now where the goals over the next 2 games, the goals for the rest of the regular season, are 100% not about winning games. It's about getting ready for the postseason. We don't have to play the facade of pretending like it's an end-all be-all winning game. It is now about the postseason 100%. And there are, I don't want to say funny because they're not funny, they're serious. There are some funny decisions that are going to have to be made. It doesn't appear as if, and Rod hinted at this, it doesn't appear as if Alexander Nikishin is going to be able to play with the big league club at all in the regular season. Which just makes the how much he can contribute to the postseason conversation so much more one end of the spectrum. So much more polarizing. And actually, I'm going to add in even a crazier element here. So Brent Burns has his defenders in Canes fandom, and especially this year, there's been quite a few negators, right? Naysayers, whatever you want to call them, towards Brent Burns. Some clever. I appreciate a good joke, right? Oh, now I see why guys that are 40 years old, there aren't a lot of them left in the NHL as you watch Brent Burns play. Ha, ha, ha. If Alexander Nikishin comes back, I want to be clear. It's just not a decision. I said Alexander Nikishin comes back. If Alexander Nikishin shows up,
arrives,
yeah, there's no comes back. It's if he just shows up. It's not him or Burns. As much as people think, oh, Burns has been lacking, or Burns had this turnover, or Burns did that. It's one of the craziest arguments of all time. That would be putting 1,495 career NHL games and weighing it whether he should play or the guy with 0 career NHL games. There might not be a wider gap of experience amongst teammates darn near ever. There's not that many guys that play 1,500 NHL games. But it does illustrate part of the conversation that I think Rod appreciates, and sometimes the reputation of Rod Brind'Amour gets further out than the realization or the realistic nature of it. Experience matters. Experience matters, right? Rod and his vets, like that's the joke, right? Oh, Rod loves his vets. There's a reason why veterans matter in the NHL, especially in the postseason. I was talking with Dennis about this in the office earlier today. In other sports, you can kind of hide lack of experience, right? You can put an edge rusher in only on obvious passing downs and say, see ball, get ball, right? Just go get the quarterback. And he doesn't need the nuance of recognizing pass versus run and setting an edge. You can hide it a bit. Hockey, with the nature of up and down, especially their system where you have to play both sides of the ice, you can't hide anybody. Borderline, I guess you could put them next to Slavin and just say, hey, Slavin, make up for their mistakes, which is possible. But the big mistakes can't be made up for, right? The turnovers in your own zone, like the not being where you're supposed to be, those things, they're just there. They're just there. Basketball, there is an element of everybody's played pickup, get out there and run. Baseball, you don't even, this is not a joke because it happens. You don't even have to speak the same language at all as the people that you communicate with every day because it's, hey, you're up, kind of translates in across every language. I got it. You're not, that's it. Hockey's not that. Now I want to be clear here also. Brent Burns is not what he used to be.
No.
But I don't think he would, he's not saying, hey, it's 2016 or whatever it is when he had 29 goals and 76 points. He's not arguing that, but trust is important. Knowing where you're supposed to be is important.
By the way, it's not unprecedented, by the way, for people to make their NHL debut in the playoffs. Rod Brind'Amour did it.
True. But the Nikishin element of it is like you don't even know the guy, right? If you are playing in the AHL, if you are showing up to the developmental camps, if you are around, it's much easier to say, all right, I've seen you, I know you, go on in there. Nikishin's been in Russia. He can't even get to North America in like weeks, right? They've signed the deal and still can't get him on this continent. This is not somebody that everybody is familiar with. And in the postseason, there is a added element of I want to trust the people on the ice. I like, just me personally, this is where I'm now putting my own like kind of wishes and hopes in there, or how I would deal with it. I'd have a hard time putting a player in the postseason that I didn't even either know for a couple years, right? So like putting, let me think of an example, like Bradley Nadeau into the postseason is different than putting a forward coming from the KHL, because he's been with your AHL team all year. He was around. He played in a game last year. Like there's that,
and they were in the same system down in the AHL.
I would have a hard time putting somebody in that hasn't at least been in the system of some kind for like 2 weeks. 2 weeks. I'm not asking for a full calendar year. Give me 2 weeks. Give me a full week of practice. Give me an appearance in an AHL game. It doesn't look like you're going to get that for Nikishin. That doesn't mean you don't play him, as Dennis just brought up. The guys have made their debut in the postseason, or even like with little experience, have had really good runs in the postseason. Stankoven last year didn't play a ton of regular season NHL experience, had a great postseason run for Dallas. So it is possible. I think you make sure you have super veterans around them. There's ways you can help it, right? You don't play them like top line minutes at first, and you let them earn their role little by little by little. If you're going to ride with Brent Burns for the entirety of the regular season, and darn near the entirety of the every game, right? If you're going to ride with Brent Burns the entirety of the regular season, you don't use him as the shakeup in the postseason. Is kind of what I'm getting at. If you want to talk about Orlov, we can have that conversation, right? And he's not as entrenched, and he has gotten banged up, and he's moved around in pairings. If you want to talk about that, we can talk about that. If you want to just complain about Brent Burns and some of the mistakes he makes, earned, right? If he turns the ball over at center, or turns the puck over at center ice, yeah, go ahead.
Or gets beat down the ice.
Or if it gets, there's a couple where it's like, you see the puck right there, don't you? Just go. If you like, we can do that. But it's to me a little egregious, a little over the top to go, if you don't put in this guy with 0 career NHL games in for that guy with 1,500 career NHL games. You got to sit there and think about it from the coach's perspective. Do we have the clip here with Rod on the latest on Nikishin? All right, let's go ahead and hear from Rod in his own words, the latest on the stud prospect for the Canes.
No, I don't think he's going to be able to, from what I've heard, because of not only the visa issue for U.S., but to get to Canada. I think there's also an issue, from what I'm being told. So I know it's in process, but I think it's probably unlikely from what I've been hearing.
Unlikely. It's a bummer. I was hoping to see it.
And Rod can't even contemplate it or consider it until he actually is in the United States. He's like, hey, man, well, what if I put him here? Well, you can what if yourself to death. You got to deal with actually what is. And what is he's not here.
Yeah,
simple as that.
I think they, like, behind closed doors, they've had conversations about, if he shows up here, what do we do? If he shows up then, what do we do? But you can't go too deep into it. And you darn sure don't want to let the players know. You don't need to be messing with anybody like, hey, if Nikishin shows up, he's taking your spot. Never mind, we need you for all 7 games of this opening series. You want to keep them as far away from it as possible. It's an interesting deal. We'll have the conversations as it goes on. The next 2 games starting tomorrow, a little Ottawa or a little Canada swing. They're all about getting ready for the postseason. Maybe we'll learn something. Maybe we'll just have a whole bunch of AHL guys out there trying to score their first goals and keep the puck. That could be cool too, by the way.